Hello there, my good people of YouTube. I hope everybody out there is doing really well. I'm in Strand Hill today on the beach, and I've decided to come out and do a second part of life in the Irish countryside. Welcome to Strand Hill. Now, as some of you may know, I spent the last year traveling around Spain and Portugal, and it was mostly in the cities. And don't get me wrong, sometimes living in the city is really great. You know, you have all the conveniences of the shops that are really close, and you know, if you ever need any help, it's close at hand. You know, it has everything that you need. If you need some food really quickly, you can do that too. Yes, the city does have the best schools and the best jobs, but we do have schools here in the countryside too. And there is no lack of work either. But let me tell you why you should always choose quality over convenience. Let's take a walk. So yes, I lived in Valencia for a while. A lovely big city, very historic, beautiful place. Moved back to Ireland for a little while on the east coast, close to the city in Dublin. And then I moved to Seville in the south of Spain. And travelled around the south of Spain a little bit. And then I moved from Seville to Porto. All in the big cities, all very convenient, and really enjoyed it. You know, it was a brilliant experience. But life in the countryside is a little bit different. And one of the things that is so much different is the beaches. Living in the countryside here on the west coast of Ireland, I'm living in Sligo. And we do have the comfort of having the beaches so close, because we are on the west coast. Where I am now in Strand Hill, for instance, we have some amazing beaches here in Sligo on the west coast, and we're not too far from some of the best beaches in Ireland. And if you're a surfer, the waves over in the west of Ireland are some of the best in the world, and a lot of professional surfers actually come here just for the waves. So we do have some of the best beaches. Sligo itself has, you know, where I am, Strand Hill. And then we have Ross's Point to the north, and further north again is Mullaghmore, and all along that coastline there is absolutely amazing. And then it rolls up into Donegal. But if you go further west over to Mayo, that has some amazing beaches as well. And that's a great advantage of living in the countryside. You're just so close to all the best beaches. And as well as that, you know, I'm not far. I'm only about an hour from some of the sites that you might see around Ireland, like Achill Island and the beautiful Keem Beach there. And then you have the likes of only about an hour as well, maybe a little less, from Downpatrick Head, a beautiful natural wonder of rock jutting out into the sea. And yeah, that's one of the advantages of living here on the west coast of Ireland. Another thing that you don't get in the city, but that you do get in the countryside. When I was driving in here around those beautiful windy roads, those country roads with a lot of animals on either side, you know, it could be horses, it could be sheep, it could be cows, and you're up in the hills, you know, and you're coming down onto the coastline. You don't get that in the city, you know. You don't get them beautiful drives of through the mountains, through the hills, and seeing all that wildlife. So to me, it might not be everybody's taste, but to me, that's a huge advantage of living in the countryside. Just coming up to Sligo Airport here now. Hopefully nothing comes in while I'm taking this trail, but we might catch some video of it. Another great advantage of living in the countryside rather than the city is the hiking trails. Of course, you know, some of the best hiking trails are here in Sligo, or even on the west coast, but in Sligo we have the likes of, you know, Devil's Chimney, which is a beautiful hike up the hill through an ancient forest, and then right at the very end you get the view of the highest waterfall in Ireland. What a hiking trail that one is. Sligo Airport runway, and over here we have Knocknaray, which I hiked a few years ago, and that is one of the better hikes as well in Sligo. That's Queen Maeve's Trail. It goes up into a lovely forest where there's a boardwalk. It makes it easier to get up to the top, and at the very top there is a cairn of Queen Maeve at the top. So that is another brilliant hiking route in the west of Ireland. We've also got Ben Bulben Forest Walk, which is a great hike. It's about 5-6 kilometers. It's not that long or that hard, but the views all the way around of Ben Bulben itself are something to behold indeed. I absolutely love that hike. You do get a view of Ben Wiskin as well as you're going around the hike itself. And yeah, if you're ever on the west coast of Sligo, that is one I would definitely recommend you to do. Another thing the countryside has that cities don't really have much of is ancient ruins and access to them as well. You know, I've been around Ireland a lot. I've been around Spain a lot as well. And in the cities they do have some ancient stuff, but they're really well kept. But Irish ruins, you can't beat them, you know. And a lot of them, a lot of the ones that you see in the city, there's huge amount of tourists, you know. But when you come to Ireland, especially during the off season, they're empty, and sometimes you'll find yourself there on your own. Some of the places I've travelled to really would be Sligo Abbey, and then Rock of Cashel. You know, two beautiful places of old ruins, and yeah, you've nearly got it all to yourself. So yeah, we have an abundance of that in the countryside, and that is one of the great advantages that we have over the city life. Now, there is another advantage, and this one is a big one. It's access to the woodlands. When you live in the countryside, you have access to so many woodlands. Some of them here that I've tried out already would be Slish Wood, where I've built a little camp stealth shelter. Another one would be Hazelwood Forest, and there are so many other forests around Lochgill that you can take a stroll around and look out onto the beautiful lake itself. So yeah, access to the forests is something that you don't get in the city very often. Another great hike is the one I'm on at the moment, which is from Strand Hill to Aspugbro. So you're on the coast and you start off at the seaside, and it brings you to an old ruin of a church and a graveyard, and I'm going to show you that next. Killasbog Church. Let's take a look inside. That is the old ruined church itself. A small little graveyard. Those gravestones are probably there a very, very long time. And out into the distance over there, that is Benbulben. But look at this beautiful countryside. You don't get that in the city. We are looking back at Strand Hill there, and look at the old wall there. And the beach over there in the distance. Move around to Knocknarea, the old ruin of the church. Move around to the graveyard and Benbulben. Yeah, it's beautiful. Well guys, that's really it. It's a wrap. It was lovely to come out here and see Killasbog again. I've wanted to do it since I moved back to Sligo, but that was why, you know, I was just outlining some of the advantages of living in the countryside, and it's up to you. What would you prefer? Would you prefer quality, or would you prefer convenience? You know, maybe you're a city person, maybe not, the countryside wouldn't suit you. But let me know in the comments, would you prefer to live in the countryside, or do you prefer to live in the city? But that's all from me for now, guys. I will wave goodbye, and yeah, I'll talk to you all in the next video. Please like, comment, subscribe. I'll catch you all very soon. Slán go fóill.